Are the Vatic Pro Prism Flash and Prism V7 really the best paddles under $100? Will they be an upgrade for your game? What are the spin numbers, power ranking, feel? We put these two paddles through an enormous amount of testing, from spin analysis with accurate RPM results to power rankings. Is this paddle worth a buy right now? Without further ado, let's dink straight into it. The amount of value and tech they put into these paddles for under $100 is really just mind-blowing. Foam edge walls and a unibody design most paddles offer for $160 to $330, coupled with the highest quality Toray T700 raw carbon fiber surface, make it easy to reset, place your shots, and finish points, while ensuring durability and a really nice overall feel. These paddles also have polyurethane inserts in the grip to greatly improve shock absorption and give players a softer feel and reduce added stress on joints, or tennis elbow. Touching on the grip, it's 5.4 inches in length, which is elongated for two-hand backhands and feels really comfortable. They aren't saying these paddles are specifically thermoformed, but sort of a hybrid between Gen 1 raw carbon fiber and thermoformed paddles, which puts these paddles in a category of their own. We're going to touch on some of the pros and cons of that in this video. Lastly, the shape of the Prism Flash being 16.2 inches in length and 7.7 inches in width, with the edges tapering out towards the top, gives this paddle one of the best sweet spots I've ever felt, especially for a paddle under $100. So let's jump into the spin ranking. In my testing, I measured an average of 1,905 RPM of spin for the Prism Flash and 1,969 RPM of spin for the Prism V7. Comparing to the Yola Perseus at 1,796 RPM and the Yola Hyperion at 1,618 RPM, both of which Ben Johns, the #1 player in the world, has used to win constant gold medals with, the spin of these paddles easily puts them in the top tier of highest spinning paddles available right now at any price point. Let's cut to some extremely satisfying clips of me ripping serves for spin testing on my high frame rate camera. So after I bought these two paddles, I sent over an email to Vatic Pro just seeing if there was any way that I could get a discount for my community. They actually set up STS Pickleball as the discount code. So if you type that in at checkout, you actually get 10% off these paddles, which takes the paddle from $99 to $89. So it was already honestly a ridiculous price for the tech that goes into these paddles at $99, but it's just even better now. So I have the link in the description down below, and then just type in STS Pickleball at checkout. You can snag one of these for 89 bucks. So let's get back to it. So as you can see, these paddles are ripping spin and feel really nice off the face. I'm gonna give both of these paddles a solid 9 out of 10 in the spin category. To compare that to some larger brand paddles, we have the Yola Perseus at 1,796 RPM of spin and a score of 8.1. And the Yola Hyperion at 1,618 RPM of spin and a spin score of 7.4. Moving on to the power ranking. Power testing for me comes down to the feel of drives, serves, hand battles, and pop off the face. Pop being if the paddle was stationary and a ball flew into it, how far the ball would bounce off the stationary face. Power being when I'm driving the paddle into the ball, how hot it feels off the face when I'm applying my own force. So in my testing, I tested the power of these paddles doing tons of drives, serves, some hand battles with my buddies at my local indoor pickleball court. Shout out to the Pickleball Kingdom in Chandler, Arizona. And how easy or hard it was to reset the ball via the amount of pop I was feeling off the face. After all this testing, I compiled a score of 8.3 out of 10 for power and 7.9 out of 10 for pop for the Prism Flash, and 7.9 out of 10 for power and 7.5 out of 10 for pop for the Prism V7, feeling a bit softer off the face. For reference, I have the Yola Perseus at 7.8 out of 10 for power and 7.4 out of 10 for pop, and the Yola Hyperion at 7.5 out of 10 for power and 7 out of 10 for pop. Moving on to sweet spot ranking. The sweet spot of these paddles are kind of insane. Again, especially since they come in under $100. The sweet spot of the Prism Flash feels a bit larger and more forgiving to me when I hit shots and when I was dinking off-center hits when compared to the V7, which is a big plus. I'm going to give a sweet spot ranking for the Prism Flash a solid 8.2 out of 10, and the sweet spot ranking for the Prism V7 a 7.8 out of 10, which are top tier numbers for any paddle regardless of the price. I have the Yola, again just for reference, as it's a hot paddle right now at 6.9 out of 10. Let's keep in mind the Perseus is definitely a high skill cap paddle. There's obviously a reason why Ben Johns, the #1 player in the world, wins constantly with this paddle. Although I would say his technique and his skill are a large majority of it. And lastly, the Yola Hyperion at 6.5 out of 10. Moving on to the feel and the soft game ranking. The soft game and the feel of these sort of Gen 1 thermoformed hybrids gives them sort of an edge when comparing to a lot of other paddles available right now. When dinking and dropping, and even in resets, I felt less pop than thermoformed paddles, but less of that sometimes overly soft feel of traditional Gen 1 raw carbon fiber paddles. So for this category, I gave the Prism Flash a solid 8.3 out of 10, the V7 an 8.1 out of 10, which you might find surprising as the Flash is a touch firmer than the V7. For me, it all just came down to what felt the best and what was like most consistent. Honestly, going back to sweet spot rankings, I think the Prism Flash takes the edge here because my off-center dinks and drops just felt less punishing to me. So for reference, again, using the Yola Perseus just because it's super popular right now, I have the Yola Perseus at 7.4 out of 10 and the original Yola Hyperion at 7 out of 10 for feel and soft game rankings. So to conclude on the original question of are these the best paddles available right now under $100? Absolutely. For me, specifically the Prism Flash, I'll put that in my bag and see if it might be my current go-to paddle. Something about the feel of this paddle and the confidence it brings to my game just has me loving it. I also am a big fan of the design and the purple on the face. I think it just looks really cool, which helps a little mentally, as you can imagine. I can confidently say there is no paddle under $100 that competes with these paddles. They're insane for the price. It's insane. And with that, my friends, these paddles have been officially tested, ranked, and sorted. I'll catch you in the next video. Peace.